Okay, if you're a solo business owner, I bet you know this feeling. You've poured everything into a new piece of content. It feels solid, it feels ready, but is it? That little voice in your head, that little bit of doubt about when to stop tweaking and just hit publish, well, that can be one of the biggest and sneakiest roadblocks to actually getting seen. It always starts so small, doesn't it? I'll just fix this one tiny sentence. But then, you start to adjust the headline, then you tweak the ending, and before you know it, a half hour has just vanished, and you are still stuck in the exact same draft, no closer to getting your work out into the world. Yeah, I'm guessing that sounds pretty familiar. But here's the thing you have to know. This cycle of endless tweaking, it's not because you're not good enough. Actually, it's usually a sign that you have really high standards. The real issue is that there's a much deeper reason your brain gets trapped in this loop. And that right there is the heart of it all. This isn't some personal failing, it's a system failure. Think about it. Without a clear, preset definition of what done actually looks like, your brain literally has no signal telling it to stop working. So it just keeps going and going, endlessly searching for a finish line that you never actually put up in the first place. Now, this is a really crucial mindset shift. Endless revision isn't something that just happens to you. It's actually the strategy you have unconsciously chosen by not defining your endpoint. It just becomes the default setting, It's the path of least resistance for your brain. So what does this actually feel like when you're in the middle of it? To really get a handle on the frustration of this whole cycle, let's look at a metaphor that just perfectly nails the experience. Racing without a finish line. Okay, so imagine for a second you're an athlete. You've been training for months. You know the course like the back of your hand. And you're standing at the starting line, totally ready to go. But there's one huge problem. No one ever told you where the finish line is. So you just start running. And you keep running. You know the end is somewhere up ahead. But without that banner to cross, your effort just stretches on and on. You're constantly looking for a signal that never comes, burning all your energy until you have to stop. Not because you won, but because you're just completely exhausted. And that feeling of exhaustion is so real. So let's bring this back from the racetrack to your business. What's the real tangible cost of being so vague about what done means? These patterns, they create so much friction. In the moment, each one feels totally responsible, right? You're telling yourself you're just, improving the quality. But when you add them all up, they become a massive drain on your most precious resources, your time and your energy. You're spending all this effort on little tweaks that don't really change the outcome for your audience at all. And this right here is the hidden trade-off you're making, and it is so costly. In the name of protecting this idea of quality, you are sacrificing consistency. And for any of us running our own businesses, consistency isn't just a nice to have, it's the absolute engine of our visibility. So here's the bottom line. Your business grows when your work is out there, in front of people. Imperfect and consistent will always, always create more visibility than perfect and polished work that never sees the light of day. Over time, that gap between you and your competitors isn't about talent. It's about output. It's about who's showing up. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We've felt the cost. So let's flip this around and talk about the solution. How do we take back control? It's time to stop running that endless race and finally, decisively, mark your own finish line. This simple framework puts the power right back in your hands. You get to decide what done means. So first, you set your standard. What is publishable, not what is perfect? Second, you build a quick checklist, a short, non-negotiable list that signals completion. Third, decide your stopping point before you even start. And finally, maybe the most important rule of all, once it's live, you leave it alone. The race is over, you won. Now, making this decision one time is great, but turning it into a real habit, that's where the magic happens. This next part is all about building a brand new, way more effective operating system for your business with a simple 90-day commitment. The goal here is so simple. Create a single, clear standard for your main way of getting visible, and then just stick with it for the next 90 days. That's it. No changing the rules on yourself every week. This gives you a nice, time-boxed container to practice this new habit and turn revision from this default strategy into just another simple step in your process. If you take only one thing away from our time together, please let it be this. You cannot wait to feel like your work is done. That feeling, it might never show up. Done is a decision. It's a clear, objective rule that you get to set up before you even begin. So here is my challenge for you.
right now, before you even think about editing your next piece of content, can you write down your definition of done in a single, clear sentence? If you can't, well, then you know exactly what your next step is. That is the very first and the most powerful decision you can make to get your time back and finally build the visibility your great work deserves.